Hello and welcome to the show. I'm here on Forza 4. Daniel is currently been busy in a way, so I'm going to be doing this video on my own, and I'm going to have a look at some of the setup challenges cars. Now, as I said in one of the videos, I said why sometimes we can't necessarily do sort of onboard cameras because of my computer not being good enough to edit, and being able to sync all the stuff up can be very, very confusing. So I'm going to drive a selection of them to show you what they're actually like on board. So I'm recording this live, hopefully it will all work properly. Up first we have the Jeep that started it all. This is from OJDM, or OJDM Only, I can't remember. Let's have a look. The advantages of doing live recording, I've forgotten your game tag. There we go, I did remember, OJDM Only. Who basically sent me a message saying, I challenge you to drive this car around a lap of the Nürburgring without rolling it, which sounded fun, so we went and did it. Now if we go test drive, and we find Nürburgring somewhere, here it is, no, this one. We're only going to do a bit, because I don't want to do the whole thing. Stage A, here we go. And I'll just show you what this thing's like from the onboard perspective. So I'll drive in the cockpit view, and you'll get an idea of just how difficult these things are to drive, how much they move about, and yeah, just a general sense of how ridiculous they are. I mean, you've seen the replay cameras, you've seen how they look on them, but here we go. We are on the onboard camera. Can I remember the controls? Yes, we can. Now, this isn't the most ridiculous car we've had. By some of the vehicles we have now, it's fairly tame, but when we drove it first, it was absolutely insane. It's still a pretty interesting thing. You still got to be careful of it. Ooh dear, that's a fence. That's a fence over there. Oh, I've got damage turned off. Never mind. Okay, so yeah, as you can see, it's a little bit floaty. Ooh, you got the just about hit the fly. There was definitely a wheel in the air there. And we go around here. It's on three wheels. Oh no! Pit late, pit late, pit late. Stop. Whee! Just about avoided that one. Right. Ooh, a bit too much power. Oh, I'm concentrating a little bit, so I may end up going a little bit quiet. Whee! We're going across the grass. No, we're not. We're not. We're going that way. Please stop. Just there we go. It's under control. I've got everything sorted. Ooh, that was a big hit on the floor. Okay. Well, grass. Sorry. Get off the fence. There we go. Whee! That was a wheel in the air. And another wheel in the air. Yeah, you kind of get the idea of how difficult this thing is to drive, just how much it moves about. Oh, God. That was a bit nasty. Will you stop lifting a wheel up in the air, please? Thank you very much. Amazingly, I haven't rolled it yet. Ooh. Come on, get turned. Whee! We're just going to drift it. There we go. Look at that. Sideways. No, I can't stop it now. So specifications on this, just stick the telemetry up. There you go. You can read them for yourself today if you're in high enough definition. If not, it's got quite a lot of horsepower. This is an R3 car. If I can get it in a straight line, I can read it off. 800 odd horsepower, turbocharged. How much torque? 750, I think, or somewhere around that. And wait for it. 752. There we go. So yeah, it's a very, very quick car, but of course you can't drive it. Woohoo! That was a bit of airtime. You can't drive it particularly fast because it's incredibly hard to steer. Whoa, that's a nosy. Nearly did a front flip there. That would be impressive. Good. Try and keep this thing under control. No, we've got to spin. Okay, I may have scraped it a little bit, but never mind. How far have we got to go? Oh, we're nearly finished. Come on, get turned around and handbrake, handbrake. Whee, there we go. That's much better. So yes, there we go. This was the first ever jelly car we had. It's a lot tamer than some of the stuff we've had lately. Going back to this car, it's much easier. I won't say, oh no, oh, it's gone. It's gone. I thought I could save that one, but I can't. I couldn't. It's much tamer than some of the jelly cars we've had later, but it's still very tricky to drive, as I demonstrated by rolling over at that point in time. There we go. Cross the line with that car. Okay, now let's move on to another one. If the loading screen would hurry up and come on, game, please. I'm going to run out of things to talk about. Oh dear. Okay, so let's go back to my garage to see what else we've got. Also, while I think about it, in case people didn't realise, I've only found this out recently. You can actually group cars, so you can see here. I've got some cars grouped. If I just select some random vehicles and then go in here and create car group, you can put them in groups, which makes it easier to, like, you have them at the front of your list of cars. I didn't know that for ages until somebody told me that you could do it. So yeah, that's just a useful thing. Some of you might find useful. Anyway, let's go on to the tricycle car. This is... Oh, my phone's going off. Very professional of me. What do you want? Oh, it's just some stupid rubbish text. Oh, I hate them. Stupid marketing crap. Anyway, what are we going to do? Test drive. Yes, we're going to go for... should we go... I don't want to go... We'll go Infineon. Actually, no, we won't. But this was done on Nürburgring as well, wasn't it? Yeah, we'll go there. Sure, why not? We'll go stage D. This one here is another one people wanted to see the onboard cameras for. In case you haven't seen the setup challenge for this one, basically this car, it isn't a jelly car as such. The suspension isn't all wibbly wobbly. It's just when you go around a corner at any speed, it lifts the front wheel up in the air. And if you're in cockpit view, which the challenge was we had to be in that, you just see sky. And then, of course, once the wheel's in the air, you have no steering either. So it was very tricky. I don't know how well this part of the stage, I don't want to show you the entire lap. But right, the suspension is much nicer than the wheel. There we go, starting to look up at the sky. Yeah, you kind of get the idea. Ooh, turning isn't particularly fantastic even when all the wheels are on the floor. Now we're going over here. Let's just get this one turned. And sun and sky and everything. That's not very nice. Thank you, game, for making it extra difficult. More sun. Oh, God, please get stopped. The corner. And sky. Floor. There we go, just about to see the road. Yeah, this is it. Oh, no, not going to even get stopped. This is a very difficult thing to drive. We're going to go on the grass. More sun. I didn't realise it was this sunny. Nürburgring. I swear it wasn't that difficult when I drove this thing for the challenge. Alright. Okay. You kind of get the idea. Basically, you go around a corner and look at the sky and then look at the floor and don't get turned at all. And I've hit the wall. Oh no, we're going for a spin. No, please. That's not gone so well. Playing with this on simulation damage, we tend not to do. I know it's sort of slightly more realistic and we could have cars broken. The problem is if we do roll, which is quite possible with some of the cars we get given on here. Woohoo, dear. Don't want to do that. Please stop in time. There's the wall. If we do end up rolling the cars and we're running simulation damage, you can't flip the thing back over again. And while, yes, that is kind of more realistic, hey, oh, spun it. We don't... It's not really as much fun if the video takes like 20 seconds. With some of the cars we've had recently, it's almost impossible to drive them without flipping them. So yeah, we normally just run it on cosmetic damage. Just about to keep this thing under control, just for make the video more interesting. Otherwise, the cars would end up on their roof and get stuck very early on. Okay, what percentage are we? 50%. So yeah, you can see as we go around the corner, hey, wheels up in the air. I'm not 100% sure how he's done it with this car. You will see later. I do try and figure it out, but it's quite confusing. I don't know how half the people come up with these setups, especially the Datsun that we had on Thursday that just had no steering. I don't know how you come up with all of them. You just tinker about with like making the extremes of camber and toe and all of that sort of thing, and you eventually come up with something pretty mental. Final few corners and it's just going to be a straight, and hey, there we go. Long corners are the worst because you just look at the sky completely, and whoa, going to go sideways. In fact, with this car here, it's actually easier if you drifted it. I'm not really sure how Forza calculates like how this thing drives, but if you were going sideways, it would stop lifting the front wheel up, which made things a lot easier. And we're out of gears, and there you go. You get the idea with that car straight. Not much interesting. Okay then. I don't know what the AI was doing. It's also quite amusing to try and give these cars to the AI. Like when you quit a race or you finish a race online, the AI takes control of the car. It can be quite amusing giving these to the AI and see what they do with it, which is what we will do in a second. Cars. My cars. Okay, we're going to go in the ultimate jelly car next. This is the one that was from a couple of weeks ago, possibly. I can't remember when everything was released. And we're going to... Oh, this was on Nürburgring as well. We're going to go somewhere different than Nürburgring. I know where we're going. Oh, no, is it under here? No, it's not under here. It's under here. There we go. A Camino Veo, or however it's pronounced, Extreme Circuit. I'm amazed no one set us a challenge on this one yet. Well, people have probably just forgotten about it, to be honest. This is another very tricky circuit. A lot of people just like saying like a lap around the Nürburgring, which is kind of a good sort of distance for these challenges, but it gets a little bit repetitive. So if people send us challenges and don't say what track it is, we're just going to pick a track at random. Because there has been times where people have just sent us a car and said drive this and not said what track, so we'd just pick a track at random. So if people do that, then we will just drive a random circuit. So this is the Landrover, which we had whenever it was. This is insanely hard to drive. I mean, you've seen the Jeep, and that was pretty tricky. But this one here, no, I just got no control over it at all. It's deciding it's going each way. Now, the Camino Viejo is a very bumpy circuit. In fact, I may not get round a full lap of this track because of it will probably end up on its roof at some point. Oh, hey, no, stop doing that, please, you silly car. This thing, when it lifts a wheel up off the ground, which it does quite frequently, it just decides to steer in a direction. Okay, we're going to go for a handbrake, we'll go for a bit of a slide, because that seems to be a better way of controlling these things. Oh no, too much slide, too much slide, too much slide. Come on. Well, I didn't roll it, which is going well so far. Woohoo, no, we don't want to go over there. What are you doing that for? I did not do that, I didn't tell you to do that. Made a mess. Come on, let's go over this way. Right, I can drive cars, honestly. Alright, we go over here. This jump, oh, for God's sake. Stop pulling to one way or the other. I'm concerned about the top of this hill, what it's going to do, but I don't think I'm going to be fast enough for it to actually affect this car. We're going over here. Woo! Oh, God dear. No, get off the fence. Get off the fence. I can't actually get this thing fast enough to show you how much it moves about in a straight line. And over here. No, come on. I've forgotten how to drive this thing completely. Okay. Hopefully you'll get an idea of just how much. There you go. I'm not touching. Well, I wasn't touching the steering. I'm going to have to. No, whoa, no, don't go over. You get the idea of how much this thing moves about on its own accord without me having to do anything, and that makes it very, very tricky to drive, because when you are wanting it to do something, it's still wanting to do its own thing and doesn't really listen very well to you. Ooh, round here. These like tight corners in this are terrifying because you never know quite when it's going to roll over. Also, while I'm... Whee! Don't do that. While I'm here, I will point out that the stripes on it are correct. The replay, for some reason, put them on the wrong side, and I didn't know it was going to do that until after I'd done the driving and done all the recording, and the replay, for some reason, decided the stripes were going to be on the other side of the roof. Never had that problem before with liveries in here. I've had liveries not loading occasionally, but I've never had it sort of load it incorrect, or load it sort of correct, but stuff in the wrong place. It's a bit of a weird one. I don't know if it does it with Landrovers. Whoa, we're gone. I don't know if people have had experiences with stuff like that, if it's the problem with the Landrover, or whether I just got unlucky. Okay, it rolled over, but we're all good. I'm hoping I can get some speed up down here, because there's some big bumps down here that would be interesting to see. Oh, it's just going to roll. Yeah, that's what I thought. Oh, I think I've broken everything, and I'm on my roof. There we go. That pretty much sums up Jelly Cars. Oh, I can get... What's going on? I didn't think I could get it over. Well, it's broken completely and I've got no power. I thought with simulation damage you couldn't... Maybe it's because I'm in sort of test drive you can do it. Okay, we'll finish off with that car. You can see how mental that thing is to drive. All of these cars, I think, are still on the people's storefronts. I'm not sure about the tricycle. I will put up names in the description so you can search and have a go with these. I think all of these, with the exception of this last one, were from other people on their storefronts. Now, this final car... Where is it gone? Is a Dodge Dart. This has been built by me. I was kind of experimenting. I was experimenting with trying to find out how to build a tricycle car, how this one was built, and I was also experimenting to build a car for the star in a city car thing. It was an idea I've had for a while, and I was trying to think of a car to do it with, because I wanted to build it myself. I wanted to make the car myself, make it interesting, and make it different to something that we've had before. And I was messing about with I was messing about with this Dodge Dart. I was also messing about with the Ford Fairlane. Oh, Thunderbolt, that's the one. And I came up with something rather bizarre. I then ended up changing it to the Jeep because the Jeep was even more crazy. Now, if we go test drive, I was building this on Infineon initially because this is like a very undulating circuit. I then changed to Camino Viejo or Viejo or whatever it's called because that's got more bumps and that makes it more interesting. Now, if this is ever going to load... the reason why also some of you are saying that you wanted to see me do a lap around the Camino Viejo, whatever. I don't know how it's pronounced. I'll probably get it wrong and people will shout at me. But people wanted to see me do a lap, but it's not really fair if I do a lap because I've spent like 2 hours tuning the car there. Or maybe not quite 2 hours, but I spent a lot of hours driving and making sure that it was perfect. So, no, I won't be doing a lap, or at least I won't show it on the board for now. Anyway, yes, this is the Dodge Dart. It is an R3 car. I think it has the V10 from a competition coupe, maybe. Anyway, I nicknamed this one the Bone Shaker because it does something very, very weird when you're in cockpit view. A, it's very tricky to drive in the first place because it's very powerful and has very little way in the handling department. However, when you are very, very heavy on the brakes, which I probably won't be... Come on, get in a straight line. Basically, when you go very heavy on the brakes, which I'll try and show you now, and now... No, we're not. There we go. Just about starts doing it. The front of the car basically, I don't know, resonates off the ground, shakes the camera about like mad, which makes it very, very hard to see. Here we go. Big stop. And then it's vibrating all over the place, which makes it very, very hard to drive. And we've had a bit of a spin. How much horsepower does this thing have? Oh yeah, it's over 1,000. That would be why it's pretty tricky driving this thing. Basically, the suspension has been tinkered with a fair bit on here. It is very... oh god, can I remember which way around it is? I'm probably going to have to check. Woohoo, go sideways. Yes, I'm going to have to check because I've forgotten completely. The suspension, there we go. Very, very soft on the front, very, very stiff on the rear, and then you've got your ride heights there as well. So very low at the front, very high at the rear. Now this causes the front of the car to basically, whenever you go over sort of bumps and stuff, to resonate off the ground, making the camera shake about a lot in cockpit view. It also has the side effect of making the back wheel lift up off the ground. So it's a tricycle kind of in reverse from the Dodge Cornet that we had. So as you go around these long corners, it lifts up the back wheel, which then in turn basically spins the car near enough because power is only going to one side, making it very, very difficult to drive. I was going to show you, like this final corner, so the heavier braking zone, the more the camera vibrates. I was going to show you down here, but I've managed to spin it before I got to it. This was the initial idea for the Star in a Silly Car one. As you can see, it's bouncing about all over the place. And there we go, there goes the camera. It's very tricky to drive like that if you do it for long sort of periods of time. Whoa, we've had another spin. Get on, get turned around, please, car. But I was experimenting with the setup and messing about with various different cars, seeing how it would work on, and I put it on the Jeep because the Jeep is a very, very high car, sort of standard, very high centre of mass, and wondered what it would do, and it made it ridiculous. For the actual Jeep, I was messing about with the setup some more. I just experimented by what happens if I put the springs the other way around, so you have the ride height low at the rear and soft at the rear and high at the front. Oh, I've forgotten again. What is the I just looked at it a second ago. Yeah, you have the damping very, very soft, and then you have the springs. For this car, spring is the rear is stiff and high, whereas in the silly setup Jeep thing we have, it's the front that is a stiff and high, which is what causes it to bounce across the bumps, which you're seeing where it's lifting up its front wheels. Whereas on this one, if it hits any bumps, it lifts up the back wheels, which makes it even trickier to drive when you're trying to put so much power through. And yeah, as you can see, it's an interesting car. I will put this on my storefront if people want to have a go with it. You've got to drive it in cockpit view though to get the full effect. If you drive it in other views, like here, you just watch it, the sort of the back bouncing about, and it doesn't really affect your driving as much. Try and get some power down. Okay, and there you go. Yeah, this is my work, I guess. I was prattling about with as much on the set as I could. This is the sort of thing that I came up with. I was trying to avoid using like the toe and camber to make it hard to actually put any power down. It's a perfectly drivable car, this one, but it's just tricky. Now, we've got a big bounce on through there. I'm just going to go and quit, so you can have a look at what the AI makes of it. If you give it a jelly car, it just falls over all the time. You just can't deal with it. This one, I think it can actually drive it just about, but you'll get an idea. You can see. Hopefully that menu will go soon. Please, can you go away, menu? Or not? You'll see how much this car... There we go. Thank you. You'll see how much this car is moving about. There you go. I can't remember the exact parts that went in it, but it was most of the upgrades were in it, I think. Maybe not tyres. But yeah, you look at how much that thing is bouncing around on the back, which makes it very, very tricky to drive. It's a good, fun challenge. And as I said, I'll put it on my storefront. You can have a go with it. You can have a mess around with it and see what you think of it. However, that is it for this episode, guys. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed having a look at some of the onboard footage from these cars. They are interesting, to say the least. They're certainly a challenge, some of these cars. And yeah, if you have set up challenge cars that you would like to see us use, then as we said before, go to our forums. There is a section for submitting them. It's much easier keeping track of them in there than it is in my inbox, because messages get lost and confused, and yeah, they're hard to find. So yeah, send things in there. I'll put a link again in the description to our forums. Oh, those exhausts are very, very low on this car. That's going to be painful. However, thank you very much for watching, everybody, and until next time, goodbye.